moving on, the next section is about goals and outcomes. So at this point, this should start to feel familiar, but we've added some considerations for the goals section here. And the goal is, backing up a little bit, the goal is really sort of that ultimate rallying cry goal that, you read it and you're inspired by it. That's why you come to work every day, is to achieve that goal. And so it's really the most like sort of aspirational item on the theory of change map. And so therefore we try to start this exercise out with first considerations, of course, but then the brainstorm is framed in terms of a newspaper headline. So the idea is for the team to sort of look ahead to whatever the time frame of the goal is. Most teams are at this point creating theories of change that have a 2030 timeline. And so this is a moment for the team to say, let's imagine we're in 2030 and we've achieved our goal. What does that world look like? And just really, these can be aspirational. You can get fun with them. What does it look like? What does it feel like? What are you noticing? What does the world look like now that you have achieved your goal? After this sort of group ideation session, and we really encourage you to sort of run this as a group exercise and have folks call out things that are meaningful to them so that the group can sort of catch the vision together. After that brainstorming session, we move into sort of a goal definition moment. The way we have designed this is that each participant in the workshop would spend a few minutes sort of silently drafting their own best version of a goal statement. And we encourage people to really focus on creating a simple goal. You can also use, so this is an alternative to the SMART goal format that you might be familiar with, at least in English speaking languages. That's a very common acronym that describes sort of the elements of a successful goal statement. We've sort of boiled that SMART goal statement down into the most important elements of it: the specific, important, and measurable, simple elements of the goal. So it's important that, that your goal statement means something specific, that it feels important, feels worthy, and it can be measured. So once you've sort of aligned on what a simple goal statement might look like and the time frame that you're thinking about, again, giving participants a few minutes to just sort of draft on their own their best guess. And then at this point, convergence looks like trying to pick one of the goal statements written by an individual that can serve as a starting point for the group's shared goal statement. So again, using the energy vote can be a great way to identify a top 2 or 3 contenders. And then whatever the group wants to sort of focus on as a starting point, they can massage the goal statement to get it feeling right for the theory of change moving forward. Once the team has identified the goal statement, the final section of this day 1 theory of change workshop is to identify the key outcomes, which are measures or indicators that tell us we are achieving our goal or close to achieving it. So it's essentially a way of breaking down the goal statement into measurable items that collectively will indicate to the team that they've achieved the goal. What we have placed here as a starting point is the 2030 TNC metrics, 2030 metrics. So you might want to take these outcomes and delete ahead of time the ones that aren't relevant to your work at all, and consider using the ones that remain as a starting place. This is a great way to visually indicate in your theory of change exactly how your work rolls up into the 2030 goals. And a lot of hard work and really careful thought has been put into these 2030 outcomes. And so we really recommend that you take advantage of that by using them in your theory of change. We also recognize that you may need other outcomes, or you may need to adjust what's here in order to capture fully the sort of contribution or impact that your body of work aims to have. So there are some empty sticky notes for the group to brainstorm into as well. We have here a little panel to remind you sort of how to think about outcomes. We're really looking for, at this point, measurable outcomes that are framed in terms of results. So it's the final impact we want to have, and not the outputs or the things that we're going to do, the activities we're going to perform, the reports we're going to produce, the boxes we're going to check. So, really encourage you to be thinking in terms of outcomes instead of outputs as much as possible during this exercise. Again, you can do an energy vote. And finally, there's a gut check here. Together, are the outcomes sufficient to address all the components of our goal? And are all of these outcomes necessary for us to reach our goal? All right, so that is the end of our intended day one of the Theory of Change workshop.